Nugent Hopkins. If you have questions, please use the raise hand function. Start with Reed Wilkins, 630 Chad.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, Ryan. You've had a couple of games lately where you've fallen behind in the first period. You know, Winnipeg was up 2-0, Toronto was up 2-1, and you haven't allowed a goal the rest of the way, and you've been able to win. Where is that coming from, where you're able to keep it under control, even though maybe you fall behind early?
Well, I think we just stay confident in our group and just play with that relentless attitude, and obviously a little bit of desperation in our game. Not enough where we're turning pucks over, and we're just forcing things, but we're just constant pressure on them, and yeah, it's tough for the other team to get anything going offensively in those scenarios because we're just constantly putting pressure on them, and I think when we're at our best, we're just playing that relentless mindset.
Does any of that come from experience? You know, if you look at you, Leon, Connor, Darnell, some other guys who have played together for a while, where you can look at each other and say, okay, like this isn't great, but we know how to handle it. Does that factor in?
Yeah, well, I think enough of us have definitely been together long enough, and everybody else, I mean, they've gone through situations on other teams too, and you got to find a way to grab it right when you see it kind of slipping a little bit. After they got that second goal, I thought we did a really good job responding in the second period, and we started putting a lot more pressure on them. So, sometimes it doesn't always go your way right away. You just got to find a way to grab it and take control.
Bob Stauffer, 630 Chad.
Hey, Ryan, just a thought on how you thought it went yesterday playing with Kyle Turris. He's obviously a smart player, but he hadn't played him for a while.
Yeah, no, I thought the chemistry was there pretty early. We created more than we gave up. It's obviously nice having him for some face-off help, and like you said, he's a very smart player. Reads situations really well, and is always in a good spot. So makes things easy on myself and on Yamel. So definitely like the way it felt out there last night, and I got to continue on that tonight.
Ryan, you've had some of your better games at the Bell Centre in Montreal. I know the fans aren't there, but is it still a fun place to play, even though maybe that doesn't have the same feel without obviously the 21,000 fans?
Yeah, it's always a fun place to play. Tons of history, you know that. So I mean, even getting to practice there last week, it's still a cool experience. I mean, this many years in the league, but I still you still get to enjoy it and really can take it all in. And obviously with fans, the atmosphere is incredible, and they get you right into it. There's no lack of energy in the building, but without fans, it's still exciting, and it's still the old classic building.
Terry Jones, Post Media.
Ryan, you guys have made the second game of these back-to-backs seemingly part of your DNA. Can you speak to that?
Well, I mean, we're playing a lot of them this year. We found a way to create energy right off the start. Usually that's the way that we need to play. Is you got to find a way to make yourself get yourself into it right away. Play with some energy, play with some life, and kind of dictate the pace of the game from there. And I think we've had a little bit of success so far this year, like you said, and I got to keep that rolling.
And can you give us an update on your contract as we get close to the trade deadline here?
Well, right now I'm just kind of focusing on playing. There's not a whole lot to update at this point. Obviously, the update will be when something happens.
Jack Michael, 630 Chad.
You lit up a little bit when Bob mentioned the Bell Centre. Is that because the club is 8-1-1 in your tenure there?
I didn't know that, but we've always had some good games here. Like I said before, it's always fun to play in this building. Usually with the fans, it's a crazy atmosphere. It's definitely one of the best places to play in the league, and without fans, it's no different.
What is a save or two for that matter for Mike Smith? But I'm thinking of the one on McCabe in particular. When it seems to the bench that the other team isn't going to get to 3. Does it give you guys a boost knowing you've got time to rally?
Absolutely. He made some huge saves for us that kept us in it, gave us a chance to get ourselves back in it. Even at the end of the first period, a few plays in the second period where we were starting to feel good, starting to get rolling now. And he made some huge saves for us that, like I said, just gave us a chance to get ourselves back into it. And at the end of the day, we did that. And he gives us a lot of confidence back there, and we know that we can rely on him at all times.
Thank you. This concludes Ryan Nugent Hopkins media availability. By Dave Tippett. If you have questions, please use the raise hand function. Start with Terry Jones, Post Media.
Dave, first of all, could you, it seems like you guys have made second games, these back-to-backs part of your DNA. Can you speak to that? And did you have previous numbers like this in your previous two coaching gigs?
I have no idea about that. I like the way our guys prepare. We, the back-to-back, you just you feel like you get into a rhythm. And, we've got a few things that we do a little bit different as far as preparation and that, and back-to-back to not overload guys and go out and have a simple game plan. And we've been able to get some wins off it.
In your history, you've obviously dealt a lot with games in Montreal. This team has a really good record. I think Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Jack pointed out, as 8-1-1 in his career in Montreal. There's a lot of distractions in that town, and in and around Crescent Street in particular.
Not right now. Not right now. There's not.
Yeah, that's true. Can you explain, the focus this club has apparently had?
I don't know. There's different arenas depending on schedule and, going to different places. Just teams have a different feeling. I know, just back from being when I was a player, you go into the old original six places, there's a lot of, it's the hockey atmosphere you get into, and it's contagious, so it's, you get into a situation where somebody's phone's ringing. You get into a situation where it's just players like to play here. They're enthused to play here. A lot of times you got guys with family here, so it turns into a fun place to play.
Jason Gregor.
Dave, in the past, you've talked about sometimes, when you pick your line combinations, it's, a lot of times maybe trying to send messages to other guys. And so I don't know if last night was one of those where, your second, third, and fourth lines, I don't know if you're challenging them, because they responded to, all three lines that had a much better performance last night than they had on Saturday. But which one of those lines really stood out to you?
Well, I thought each of them were better. You know, we tried Tourists in there, and that line got us a goal. You know, so you're looking to try to we're looking to try to balance things out a little bit with leaving Draisaitl and McDavid together. JJ's line was real solid for us. Archie got the goal, but we were looking for, you know, a real solid line that I could use for face-offs in our own end, and just really dug into some of the guts of the game. They were good, and Hosser and Ennis and Cassian gave us some pretty good shifts. So that group was definitely better. It was that was one of the, you know, the good parts of the game for us.
You saw Kyle Turris have to sit at home in quarantine for a week, and then he came back and, you know, like, hey, I got to give him some practice time to get his legs. The Canadiens' entire team has been off the ice. They had one practice last night. How do you take advantage of that? Your team's been very good, especially when you score first this year. I think you have the second best winning percentage when you score first. Do you bring that up, Dave, as a coach? Like, that would seem in theory to be a big advantage just because they haven't practiced, Christmas, legs, all that stuff.
Well, you know, basically when we prepare for a team, you put yourself in their shoes and what they're thinking, and then we put ourselves in our shoes and what we're thinking. And, you know, they've been off for a week. They're going to come and play a real disciplined, hard, simple game. You have to recognize that. And for us, you know, there's things that we have to get off to a good start. We have to play a real complete game, and you know, real disciplined game, not let them dictate the play. So it's, you know, we've talked about that this morning in a meeting, that how we have to prepare and recognize your opponent and go out, and hopefully we can do enough things well to win a game. And it would be nice to come back from this trip the way it was set up, and it's kind of interrupted along the way, but we have an opportunity tonight to come back with 5 or 6 points and out of the trip, and that would be you know, for a 10-day trip, you usually play more than that, but that would be kind of a nice step forward, and get a day off tomorrow. So that would be our goal tonight: get the points and head home.
Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Couple of things, Dave. Ethan Bear, how do you think his game is rounding into shape after you know, a little bit of struggle during the season?
No, he's coming along. That pair of him and Russell, the first game in Toronto, you know, wasn't their best game, but they were a lot better last night. But both of them are moving the right direction, and Bearsy especially is getting up to speed and getting going. And we knew he could get there, and we weren't asking for anything that he hasn't done before. So his game is getting up and going, and we need him to be a good player for us.
And Kara, I mean, in the division you're in, do you need him to be if he's going to be maybe a third center because of his strength? Is that what you need? I mean, to say you happen to play Lowry, I mean, he's a big body. You need somebody like that in that hole. Well,
JJ's a big, strong centerman, whether he's, you know, bottom six guy or whatever, but kills penalties, takes faceoffs for us. You need strength in your team. You need stability and strength. He's one of those guys that can bring that. And there's, you know, you like to see him when he chips in on the scoreboard with points, but more of his role is directed of strength in the game and strength of the little parts of the game. That there's little parts of the game that are not necessarily scored on the scoreboard, but scored on how the game develops and how you go about winning a game. And he's been a good player for us in that sense.
Jason Gregor.
Dave, I assume Koskinen's starting. Any other lineup changes?
Koskinen is going to start, and we'll probably go back with the same lineup as we had last night.
And can you talk about just your, you know, the 5-on-5 play tonight? Montreal's one of the better teams 5-on-5. Their special teams is really where teams have taken advantage of them. What do you like about your team, Dave? In the last 2 months, you know, your 5-on-5 goals, you're under 2 against per game. I think you're second in the NHL in goals for. What's changed for your group in both ends, 5-on-5, the last 2 months?
Well, I think for the most part, we've been better defending, and that defending part of it, real sound defending, and doing a good job there has led us to more offense. And it's when you defend very well, you get more transition chances, and part of defending well is playing more time in the other team's end. And we've done both of those things a lot better, and it's led to less goals against. And when you're playing more time in the offensive zone, you're going to get your opportunities to score. So just kind of a better all-round game. It's not necessarily better defending. There's some better offensive play that makes you defend less. So it's moving the right direction, but after these 2 games against Toronto, we gave up more chances than we would like to see. And so there's parts of our game that still have to improve.
Jim Matheson.
A couple of things, Dave. Were you very worried when Tyson Barrie got kicked in the face by Austin Matthews late in the game?
You know what? I didn't see it happen at the time, and then we got those monitors on the bench there. Looked down. That could have been a real dangerous situation. So we got lucky. He the part of the skate that hit him, I think, was the flat part of the heel, and it wasn't the skate blade. So he's really lucky. That's a dangerous situation that, knock on wood, we came out of it all right.
And starting Darnell Nurse on the 3-on-3 as opposed to, say, Tyson Barrie, is that just feel? Because Barrie usually plays with Draisaitl and Connor on the power play on the point.
Yeah, that's just feel for your personnel.
Thank you. This concludes Dave Tippett's media availability. questions, please use the raise hand function. Hands, media. Start with Tony Brar, Oilers TV.
Hey, Ethan, obviously it's been a pretty unique road trip for you guys. Is it nice to finally get a game in Montreal where you guys spent a week last week?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we would love to be sooner, but under the circumstances, it is what it is. And it's definitely be good to get one of them out of the way.
It's certainly been a pretty good road trip for you guys, 3 or 4 points so far. Of course, you guys hope to play more games than that so far. But if you guys can pull out with 2 points tonight, how big of a precedent can this set for the rest of the season and heading into the final stretches of the regular season?
Well, I think it's huge. We need all the points we can get right now. It's division's pretty tight, so the more points we can get and distance ourselves from other team, well, it's important.
Mark Spector, Sportsnet.
What about your game? It's been up and down this year, and it's up now. It seems like you get up, and then the job now, I suppose, would be to keep it at that level and sort of take it from there. That's what Dave Tippett was just talking about.
Absolutely. I think I'm playing really good now. Kind of getting back to my old self, and that's good. I'm having fun. I got a lot of energy, and it's good. Playing with Rusty, it's he's kind of helped me a lot too, and it's honestly it's awesome. I feel like I'm contributing and playing my game again.
It's crazy, eh? Like you had some speed bumps when you were in the minors and you were trying to get up, and then you had this great year last year and they showed up and you were killing it all year, and then you come back this year and there's some more speed bumps. I guess there's it's never easy, right? You got to keep at it all the time.
Absolutely. It's just learning, I guess. Growing up, you learn something every year, and to me, it's a big learning curve for me and something I won't forget.
Thank you.
Jim go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Jim Matheson, Post Media.
Ethan, last year you played with Darnell, a lot. Is it different when you come in and you have different partners as a defenseman? Does it make it way more comfortable when you see the same partner every game?
Before I would have said yeah, but now that I've played with other partners and kind of learned basically how to kind of adapt and how you have to play to help your team win. I just say that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You have to play your best and help the team get results. And that's something I've learned this year, and I'm happy I did. But at the same time, it does help to play with one guy. I've been playing with Rusty. I've played with Doc, and when you play with a guy for a little while, you kind of start to understand their tendencies and figure out how to play with them and what works best for both players. And then when it works, it looks good.
So what are the differences apart from the size between Chris Russell and Darnell Nurses? I mean, Chris has certainly played a lot longer in the NHL. So what does Chris maybe teach you that maybe you learned something new from Darnell when you played with him?
With Rusty and both players, it's just about. Rusty's kind of helped me find my game a bit. He's just basically keeping it simple, and as cliche as it sounds, it's the way the game is. If you can play simple and quick, it looks good and it's effective, and it helps you win. And that's just basically what I do with Doc. Just basically, that's kind of my game, and I did the same thing with him. But Rusty kind of helped me understand that I guess that doing it every day kind of thing, and knowing that it works and trusting it.
Thank you.
Any other questions, media? Thank you. This concludes Ethan Bear's media availability.